Hey, Henrik here. I would like to continue and have a look at the business model cube asked by Lindgren and a few others. And essentially, once again, what's the definition of a business model or a business framework? Framework or a model describes how an organization creates value, gets the value from its organization, either to its customers or to the next step downstream, and how it reaps the benefit hereof. Could be quite often money, profit, return of investment. So that's business model, and it's important to understand this business model cube as an empirical and also theoretical framework. So it's empirically tested and is based on some theories. And in a minute, I would like to take you through the individual steps, individual dimensions of the cube, and show you mention which theories it rests upon, so you'll be able to develop it further, look upon it, reflect on it, etc. Once again, the value of proposition is it inside out, so it's from within the organization out to the next step. Is that the perspective? What it is actually the university is giving to its customers, or is it the outside in? What is it the customers see they're receiving? Two very different approaches. Again, as I previously mentioned, for young people, a week at some holiday resort might not be the same as the supplier sees where they give them a flight ticket and a week in a hotel room. They might be buying a week of partying or whatever. So is it from the deliverer's point of view or is it from the customer's point of view? It should be aligned, but try have a critical view on it. Again, as is or to be. Is it we're looking at how it is currently, if it's entrepreneurship or entrepreneurship, or if it's an entrepreneurial project and we haven't got any as is. The as is would be an idea and where do we want it to be. So basically we're talking about two different business models plus one model for each value proposition. How we work with it could be changing the colors from as is, giving it a new color to be, and then see how does it influence all the other parts, because changing one part of the business model will automatically imply changes on the next. In this change process, this is actually a strategy. When is the change going to take place? Which steps does it take? And what is the order of action? So which sequence do we expect to go through it? And which resources will it take to make these changes? And again, ensuring there's a coherence all throughout each business framework or business model. So let's have a look at the dimensions of the business model. Here we have the business model cube in one of its major sizes. It's actually a table with the business model cube printed on it. And let's go through the individual dimensions. We have 6 outer dimensions, and then the 7th dimension is the relationships that join each of the dimensions, because no matter which dimension we're looking at, there's relationships that bind it together and make it work. First dimension, value proposition, and then we'll be moving over to the users and customers. Here's the board that you could be working with, or but we see that the value proposition has 3. It's a product and services. Most value propositions contain to some extent both, but there's also a process behind of how this value proposition, the product and the services, is generated within the organization. So which processes lie behind it and which products do we get out of it, or which services, or which combination of the two do we get out of it? So that is the first dimension with the value proposition, product, services, and the process behind it. This is from Arbour and Kotler, if you want to read further about it and have some more understandings. Next dimension is customers and users. So, user and customer. The user might not be the person paying. So, try and find out who's the customer and who's actually paying. Google, you probably use Google, but you're not paying. Well, Google is one of the wealthiest organizations in the world. Are they making money? This user and customer, are we working on a B2B market or a B2C? Both, perhaps. Google is working on a B2C and a B2B. These are the users not paying. B2B are the customers that are paying. In that way, interlinking it. And the theory for this is, let's get it through, is on Kotler, Van Hippel and Johnson, 2008. The next one, let's take the theory, makes it easier. Value chain functions, primary and secondary. This is mainly Michael Porter. Please note there's also Stebel and Fjellsted that look upon the value chain and develop it with value shop and value network. And that will be the next step. Then they will be looking at competencies. The technological competencies, which technology we're actually using, what are the human resources, which people do we need, frontline, back office, etc. Organizational system, what's the setup within the organization? And last but not least, which culture do we have within this organization? The theory behind this, competencies, technology, human resources, organizational culture. Pralad and Hammold have quite a lot about this in their 1990 writings that you can use to check on. Next point of attendance is the networks. So is it physical networks, digital networks, or virtual networks that we're working with? Is it like algorithms where machines are just trading currency? Physical network where we're meeting up with people, virtual networks where we're screencasting or Skype or other methods. Theory behind this is Hawkinson. And next step will be in the value chain functions. This is where the value chain, where I mentioned just previously, Michael Porter, but supported with value shop and value network. Reshuffle that, as I said. Value chain, we have the primary functions and secondary functions. These are within the organization. Please remember, we can also have value chain from all the way upstream and all the way downstream. This would be the complete value chain. So we have the value chain within the organization and a value chain that stretches beyond if we're looking for sustainability, cradle to cradle perspectives, etc. So value chain, Michael Porter, Stebel Fjellsted, value shop, value network. Value formula, turnover, profit, loss. So turnover costs equals profit or loss. And the literature here is Kotler essentially, but lots of others look at this issue. And what is there to add on here? We can add other values. This one is the traditional bottom line. What's the profit or loss? But have a look at, for example, triple bottom line. So this would be the other values if our organization is addressing triple bottom line, i.e. the question of social responsibility or environmental responsibility, the sustainable values. So, as an example of how to understand this, this is the traditional profit or loss. This one includes the two others if we're working with the triple bottom line. Try and Google triple bottom line if you're not sure about it, and get some knowledge, extra understanding of this triple bottom line. Next one and final is the relations. So between each of the 6 dimensions, we have relations binding them together. Close relations or distant relations, keen ties or not. LE, tangible, intangible relations. In this way, showing that all the dimensions in the business model cube have some connections or are linked to theory. And I hope this enlightens your understanding of how this business model cube can be applied. Once again, as in all the other theories, one is understanding it theoretically, but the greater understanding will be when you start working with it. Use some cases. When you're working with the cases, remember to keep them simple. Remember that for each value proposition, you have your own business plan. So a unique business plan for each value proposition. Or if you're starting over here with the users, each segment has at least one value proposition that they're buying. And then add in the rest. And finally, remember coherence. So if you make one change, for example in the competencies, which influence does it have on the value formula, the value propositions, users, customers, networks, and their value chain functions? Because typically, if you make a change one place in a business model, it will result in changes elsewhere. And it's a big challenge for organizations, developing, redeveloping their business plan, their business formulation. So, looking forward to some more practical work. Try and put it to work with your own organization or an organization you know well. Thank you.